Thanks to HubSpot for sponsoring this video.
So I made $13,000 from digital products last month. And I think personally, digital products are one of the best and easiest ways you can make money online. We're in an amazing time where digital products are just becoming ever more popular. And I think now the landscape has shifted where people have realized actually digital products are as valuable as physical products. A lot of the time they're quicker to make, you have an infinite amount of stock, and it makes it so much easier to deliver them to the customer. They don't have to worry about shipping times or anything like that. It's just much easier than making physical products. I think right now you'd actually be silly not to make and sell your own digital products. Before we get into this video, please subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't already. I share sort of experiences and stories. I also share links to interesting things, so make sure to check it out. So first up, we have presets. So if you're a photographer, if you're into photography, you will have most likely heard of presets, Lightroom presets. Even Instagram has their own presets where you can sort of choose filters whenever you upload a picture. Same with the Photos app on iPhone. You can choose filters when you're editing photos. That's what presets are. I don't think many people realize, but you can actually sell presets as well. I sell presets myself on my own website. I've actually made tens of thousands of dollars just selling presets, because the great thing about presets is that when people see a picture of mine on Instagram, on YouTube, or a place like that, or even Twitter, they want to get the same sort of look. They want to be able to take a picture and apply the same filter, the same look to their pictures. So they come to me to buy those presets because they want to be able to imitate the look that I have on my pictures for their own pictures. They're pretty easy to make, as whilst I'm editing photos, I'm always adjusting colors and sliders and various different things. And then when I'm happy with the look, I can actually just save that look, package it up into a downloadable asset, put it up on my website and put it up for sale. And then people can download it, upload it to their own Lightroom app or whatever it is, and start applying the presets to their own pictures. I currently have 3 preset packs, and I'm actually planning to make even more. But even with those 3 preset packs, I've made tens of thousands of dollars. I also have video LUTs. So for example, with a video like this is what it looks like without a LUT, without a correction LUT on it. And now this is what it looks like with a LUT and a correction LUT on it. And just having those LUTs again are things that I can sell. So I have 2, I have the correction LUTs and I have the sort of LUT that you get to adjust the colors. And yeah, again, those make thousands of dollars for me. And it's just another way for me to monetize something that I already do. HubSpot have an awesome little guide on finding your own $1 million business ideas. It's a simple download put together by Sam Parr, who has experience in launching and selling businesses for millions himself. It's a 6-step process that goes through finding the hook, exploring demand, understanding the leader's strengths, identifying their shortcomings, evaluating business models, and figuring out what problem it solves. So if you're interested, make sure to check it out. It's completely free to download. Next up, we have Framer templates. So I've mentioned Framer before on the channel, but I really do feel like Framer is like the next big thing when it comes to making websites, because making websites with Framer is just so much easier than most other platforms out there. They've really nailed the product so that anyone can sort of go in, learn how to use Framer and build a pretty aesthetic website. A side benefit of Framer is that creators can make Framer templates and sell them, whether it be directly through their own marketplace or you can sell it on Framer's marketplace. So we have an example here. Cedric makes Framer templates himself. He's become a pretty good Framer sort of expert, and he recently tweeted, this tweet is from August, he recently tweeted that he's made $30,000 this year from his templates, which is just insane because most of that is going to be profit. The only expense he's had in making these Framer templates is of course learning Framer and taking the time to actually make the Framer templates. And of course he'll have customer service and transaction fees, but I wouldn't be surprised if his profit margins are around 90 or over 90%. He's also a good example of someone who doesn't have a huge audience. So he's been able to market his Framer templates on Twitter and get them listed on Framer's sort of theme marketplace. That's how he's primarily been making money. And yeah, he has a few thousand followers, but when he first started, he had a very small following. And the way he's built that following is by regularly putting out valuable information about Framer tutorials, and sort of just sharing his story, sharing his experience. And it's helped him now build this income from Framer templates. And he's made over $30,000, which I just think is super, super impressive. And it just shows you don't need hundreds of thousands of followers. You can really do it with just a small audience. Next up, we have ebooks. So I've always liked the idea of ebooks. I think ebooks naturally just make a lot of sense when it comes to selling a digital product online, because you're basically just sort of maybe packaging up a story, maybe packaging up experience, maybe packaging up a learning and putting it into an ebook that other people can learn from, can benefit from. They're also usually very cheap to make. The only sort of cost you have is actually spending the time on making the ebook itself. And once you've made it, you can put it up for sale and just not worry about it. You don't have to worry about sort of managing that product, managing that ebook, because it kind of just sits in the background easily. Like it's a very low maintenance product. When it comes to what software you can use to make an ebook, there is so many different things out there that you can use to make an ebook. You can even just use Microsoft Word, you can use Apple Pages, you can use Notion, you can use Canva. There are a bunch of tools out there. Again, it doesn't cost anything to use these tools. It's just so easy to make an ebook. A good example of ebooks is fitness ebooks, and this is actually a big one, something that I didn't really even think of, but it makes a lot of sense because maybe you're someone who has done a really good job of getting into an amazing physique. Maybe you've been on an amazing weight loss transformation. You can sell that in an ebook. I feel like it makes a lot of sense to sell it as an ebook. So you could put together something like a 4-month program for a few different goals, say weight loss or mass building. You can then distribute that to friends, family, or whatever. You can maybe give them a discount or something. You can then market that on somewhere like TikTok or Instagram. On TikTok, I always see people going from like super overweight to super in shape. And yeah, like a lot of people always ask in the comments, how do you do it? What did you do? What was your diet like? What workouts did you do? All these different things. If you can share your story online and then share the sort of finer details, the actual diets that you had, the actual foods that you ate, the actual workout plans that you did in an ebook that other people can buy, it's such a great way to make money. The great thing about ebooks, like many other digital products, is that once you've made it, you just leave it in the background and it will just continue selling as long as you market it. Next up, we have using something like Midjourney to make stickers, prints, and posters. So this is a mix of a digital and a physical product, but the great thing is you have both options for something like this. So you could go into Midjourney, you could design a poster, put in a prompt, find something that you like, and then sell it in digital and physical form. So someone can buy the digital form, which they can download. Maybe they can put it as their wallpaper or something, or maybe they can print it out themselves. But then you can also offer a physical version as well. So you can use a service like Printful or something like that to then have the sort of poster hosted on there, and someone can go on there and then order your print already on a poster and it'll be delivered directly to them. So you're kind of going for both markets there, both digital and physical. Another option is selling stickers. So we have a good example here of a chap named Tim Koa. He's a fellow YouTuber. He's made $150,000 selling stickers online, which is just outrageous because to me, I think to myself, who's buying stickers? Why are people buying stickers? But it just shows there's a market for everything. And he's made $150,000 from selling stickers. Like a sticker, god damn it, like what? I honestly think that is so impressive. His primary way of selling these stickers was through Etsy. And then as that grew, he then started selling them also through his own personal website. And yeah, I think it's just a great example of someone who's taken a very small idea and just made it into a big money maker. Next up, we have Notion templates. So I've mentioned Notion templates numerous times on the channel, but I really do think it's worth highlighting as it's probably one of the easiest ones to do on this list. So as many of you will already know, Notion has really taken the world by storm. I'm actually using Notion right now. I'm using Notion for my notes for this video. I use it every single day. And now people are making videos around Notion. So Thomas Frank actually stopped uploading videos on his main channel. He made a separate channel just sharing sort of Notion tips and tricks, how to use Notion. And he's built a channel just from doing that. He's totally pivoted to creating Notion templates. And now with that channel, he's making $1 million a year from Notion templates, which is just outrageous. Another example is Islo. I've also mentioned him on the channel before. He has made $260,000 in 4 months from selling Notion templates. What's even more wild is that I think he's only 22, 23 years old. So it just shows, you know, someone young, someone who's ambitious, someone who's trying to create value, trying to create something that people can benefit from. You can make a lot of money. I think what makes Notion powerful is that you can make templates for pretty much anything, ranging from maybe a recipe template to a whole life organizer. You really can make a template for anything. Next up, we have subscription or membership platforms. So one of the leading platforms that I'm sure a lot of you will be aware of is Patreon. So I've actually seen a lot of YouTube creators, a lot of creators online use Patreon to supplement their income, to make stuff that just wouldn't make sense from doing like YouTube videos or Instagram posts or whatever it might be. So a good example of this is the Theo and Harris Watch channel, for instance. They offer access to a private podcast, early access to their YouTube videos, as well as discounts on their physical product shop. Another one on the other end of the spectrum is the Sidemen. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Sidemen. They have a platform called Side Plus where they have exclusive content, they have their own exclusive podcast. They do a bunch of content for that platform. And yeah, I'm sure they make millions doing that. The great thing is you're not just limited to a platform like Patreon. You could even make groups on WhatsApp or Discord and charge people to get into those groups. The whole idea is that you have something of value, or you're making a community that's valuable, and then you're putting a monetary gateway to that platform. And usually that's what people are willing to pay for. The premise would be that if you have something of knowledge, or maybe you're trying to create a community, you can sell your expertise. You can have other people get into that community, pay to get into that community, because they won't get that value anywhere else. So the next one is creating shorts and reels using AI. So this isn't really a digital product, it's more like a digital service, but it's also sort of a product because you're giving the customer something. But I think using AI, you can really sort of accelerate and make quite a bit of money doing this. So you can easily take long form content from a popular creator and then use an AI platform like Opus Clips. It can take any long form content, and in the click of a button, it will then program and create various different short form content pieces. The AI will even go as far as to identify the hooks and highlights of the video and remove any sort of filler as well. A good way to monetize this, like I said, is to take long form content from a popular creator, see if you can make some interesting and engaging shorts, send it to them and be like, hey, look, I've made this for you. I'd love to see if we can work together. I'd love to see if this is of value to you. And hopefully if they do find it valuable, they start paying you for it. Next up is digital resumes. So this is another one that I feel like is actually pretty easy and has quite a bit of potential to make money. But of course, the market for it is also saturated. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think when it comes to resume designs and templates and stuff like that, they're always changing, and you can make all sorts of designs, all sorts of templates. There's always going to be someone who's looking for a specific design for a specific template. The other thing is there are always people looking for a new job. So if they can find a template, a resume template that fits their style, again, it's just a good way to make money. So you could create simple ones in Canva and then sell them on Etsy. This store on Etsy, for instance, has 4,000 sales. And if the templates are similar price to this one at $9.99, then this store has made nearly $40,000 from resume templates. Next up, we have Canva Templates, and Canva is definitely a platform that I feel like is slept on because so many people are now using it. Lots of businesses are using it to create content for their social media accounts, for their websites, for their branding, for posters, just anything and everything. Rather than businesses hiring an employee to do sort of all this work for them, you could create templates for them instead and make money that way. Founders and business owners don't usually have time to do stuff like that. They're focused on the core sort of business running. They're so focused on the day-to-day running of their business. They're not usually focusing on design stuff for social media. They're not usually focusing on their website or anything like that. If you're someone who can come in and do all that for them, they will gladly pay for it. Courses. So courses are definitely by far one of the biggest ways to make money online. The only thing with courses though is that they do take quite a bit of time to make, sort of distribute, put together, but the price that you can charge for courses is a lot more than anything else on this list. The reason why I think courses are valuable is because you're taking years of experience, years of work, years of knowledge, and then condensing it down into a package, condensing it down into something that is consumable by the average person, by someone who's interested in learning more about a certain subject, topic, or whatever it might be. I recently made my own course, videocreatorcourse.com, teaching people how to make high quality video. I make thousands from this course every month, and it seems to be quite popular due to how many people are interested in making content naturally. I feel like a lot more people are now getting into and sort of accepting the idea that creating content for their brands, for their businesses is actually very, very valuable. But the issue a lot of them have is that they don't know how to make high quality content. They know what looks good, they know what looks high quality, but they're just missing the steps in between. And that's what my course helps with. It helps them go from a beginner creator to hopefully a professional looking creator, someone who can make high quality video content for their business, for their brand, for their YouTube channel, or whatever it might be. There are courses out there for pretty much anything and everything. I think that's what makes courses so great. You can really find a course for anything. That's also why sometimes I think they can be more valuable than getting a university degree, because something like maybe UI or UX design, something like a course on making short form content, something like a course on how to learn a specific software or whatever, that's just not something you're going to be able to learn at university. There isn't a university degree for that. And that's why I think courses are more valuable than university degrees. Now that you have a digital product, now that you've come up with an idea, you know what you want to make, you've made the product, how do you get sales? So there are two main ways to get sales for your digital products. Number one being paid marketing, and number two being organic sort of social media marketing. So paid marketing is pretty much the traditional way to advertise. So you would pay maybe a newspaper, a magazine, TV channel or radio to advertise your product. You can also do paid social media marketing. So you can advertise on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. But of course, the main issue here is that you need capital, you need money to start spending money on paid advertising. However, there is one big benefit of paid advertising, is that you usually get results pretty quickly. You can get your product in front of thousands very, very quickly, maybe even millions, and start getting sales pretty much right away, as long as the advertising campaign is good and the product is good. However, if you're like me, I didn't have money to start off with. I didn't have any sort of money, any capital to start spending money on paid advertising. So I started using social media. I started doing organic social media marketing. And I feel like that's what you should be doing instead if you don't have the cash. So I simply started sharing my work on every platform. Especially when I first started out, I was sharing it on Twitter, on Dribbble, on Instagram, on Facebook. And it's just by far the cheapest way to get my products, to get an audience, to grow a following, to then hopefully continue selling products. It's naturally by far the cheapest way to start marketing, but the only issue is that it is time consuming. It can take months, years maybe to build a following, to get your products in front of people. But the one benefit of doing that is that it has a snowball effect. So for example, today I can make a video and it can reach 100,000 people. Maybe in a year's time, I could spend the same amount of time making a video, making a product, but now I'm reaching 500,000 or 1 million people. But I've put in the same amount of effort as I did when I had 100,000 people, yet I'm marketing to a lot more people for the same cost. That's where organic social media marketing is so powerful, and I think more powerful than paid marketing. I think a lot of people also overcomplicate marketing. Marketing is fairly simple when you really think about it. All you're doing is taking a product, hopefully you've made a product that's actually good, that actually has value, and then you're packaging that product so that other people can see the value in that product. Other people can see why they should buy that product. Other people can see themselves using that product. The whole point is that product should bring some sort of value, whether that's happiness, whether that's education, whether that's love or whatever, just something that makes them feel a certain way. That's what it's all about, taking that product and making that person feel a certain way with it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out one of my other videos. I did a video recently, Don't Fall Behind, High Income Skills Worth Learning. That video is now my most popular video on the channel, and it's also my most recent video, which is wild. So clearly a lot of you are finding value in that video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.